Russia has warned that NATO countries supplying long-range weapons to Ukraine could be drawn into the conflict, potentially becoming targets themselves. But while Germany and France press ahead, Donald Trump is stepping back from Kyiv's one of the most controversial requests: missiles capable of striking deep inside Russia. Hello and welcome, I'm Shivani Singh, and in this report we will break down Russia's latest warning, Trump's position on long-range weapons, and NATO trying to arm Ukraine without triggering a wider conflict. Moscow argues that Ukraine can't operate long-range missile systems like German's Taurus without direct help from NATO personnel, including satellite data, flight programming and targeting support.
There is no doubt that the use of long-range systems without the direct participation of military specialists from the countries where these systems are produced, which is what we are talking about, receiving NATO satellite reconnaissance data, entering flight missions, and so on, is simply impossible. In fact, German military personnel will be directly involved in planning military operations against our country.
Now, Russia says that if these missiles are used, the countries behind them won't be seen as neutral suppliers, but as active participants in the war.
The very first missiles shot down by our air defense systems will allow us to quickly establish where and how they were produced, and most importantly, to accurately name the country of origin. We have already warned about the consequences.
And Russia's warning is not limited to weapons. As EU reportedly weighs sending peacekeeping force to Ukraine, Moscow says any foreign military presence, even under a humanitarian or multinational flag, will be seen as a hostile act. Russia says such deployment would be treated as legitimate military targets.
We have repeatedly stated that the deployment of units of the armed forces of other states in Ukraine under any flag is absolutely unacceptable. We regard this as preparation for foreign intervention. We will consider such so-called multinational forces as a legitimate military target.
Donald Trump, meanwhile, is pulling back from the escalation. He says he is not looking to deliver long-range missiles to Ukraine, and he is not authorizing any plan to strike Moscow. Now he is positioning himself as a broker, not a backer in this war. Trump's NATO ambassador says the focus remains on defense systems like Patriot batteries, but even he admits options are still open.
Obviously, an air defense system is important and critical for the situation, but at the same time, we're not taking anything off the table.
Despite the mounting threat, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte confirmed the offensive capabilities are being considered, though they are not finalized yet.
Secretary, are long-range offensive missiles part of this under discussion, and how much do you think these?
Well, again, it is both defensive and offensive, so there's all kinds of weapons. But we have not discussed in detail yesterday with the President. This is really being worked through now by the Pentagon, by the Supreme Allied Commander in Europe, together with the Ukrainians, through our command in Wiesbaden. So that is happening.
As Europe ramps up deliveries and Russia threatens to respond directly, Washington is trying to thread a difficult line, supporting Ukraine without triggering a direct conflict with Moscow. Trump says Kyiv won't be getting long-range missiles, at least for now, but with Ukraine pushing harder and Europe not backing down, the pressure on Washington to clarify the red lines are growing. We'll continue tracking this story for you. Stay tuned to Money Control for more global updates. See you in the next report.